Good morning, children. Sairam. Today we are here with another chapter of 12th standard, that is Indigo. So before starting Indigo, let's discuss few things. First of all, I would like to tell you that what is the meaning of indigo. Indigo is a dye which is of blue color, and the main message, the theme you can say of the story is telling us the strength of unity. If you are alone and you are standing in front of the powerful, it would be extremely difficult for you to stand in front of them because you are alone. But when you are among your near and dear ones and you are along with your friends who are supporting you, you are united. In that condition, you can overcome any kind of difficulty. So, unity has to be there, and especially when you are standing against the powerful. So, this chapter, let's see the introduction of the author. Louis Fisher, 1896 to 1970, was born in Philadelphia in 1896. He served as a volunteer in the British Army between 1918 to 1920. Fisher made a career as a journalist and wrote for the New York Times, the Saturday Review, and for European and Asian publications. He was also a member of the faculty of Princeton University. Now, see the introduction of the chapter. So, the story is based on the interview taken by Louis Fisher of Mahatma Gandhi. In order to write on him, he had visited him in 1942 as his ashram Sevagram, where he was told about the Indigo movement started by Gandhiji. The story revolves around the struggle of Gandhi and other prominent leaders in order to safeguard sharecroppers from the atrocities of landlords. So basically, this chapter is based on the condition of the Indians, especially the poor farmers and the peasants, those who were working under the British government, British people. At that time, what was the condition and how we were treated by them. This story is all about that. I will suggest you, there is one very interesting movie which is Lagan. I think that most of you must have seen also. That story is exactly based on the things that we used to face when we were under the rule of the Britishers. So the main thing, the most important problem was the problem of giving the taxes at that time, that already the people were poor, and moreover they have to pay the taxes on certain things. So that was a very difficult situation for all the Indians, and they were working so hard every time, but the same amount of return they were not getting in terms of money. They were not getting the more money for their hard work because they had to pay taxes. A lot of things were there. So how, in this chapter we are going to know that how Gandhiji, he just stood and he fought for the people, and what were the steps taken by him for the welfare of the Indians, especially the poor people. Characters: Rajkumar Shukla, a sharecropper; Charles Frere Andrews, a follower of Gandhi; Kasturba, wife of Gandhi; Devdas, youngest son of Gandhi, and of course, Gandhiji is also there. So let's see the summary. Louis Fisher met Gandhi in 1942 at his ashram in Sevagram. Gandhi told him that how he initiated the departure of the British from India. He recalled that it in 1917, at the request of Rajkumar Shukla, a sharecropper from Champaran. Champaran is a place. He visited the place. Gandhi had gone to Lucknow to attend the annual meeting of Indian National Congress in the year 1916. Shukla told him that he had come from Champaran to seek his help in order to safeguard the interests of the sharecroppers. Gandhi told him that he was busy, so Shukla accompanied him to various places till he consented to visit Champaran. His firm decision impressed Gandhiji and he promised him that he would visit Calcutta at a particular date and then Shukla could come and take him along to Champaran. Shukla met him at Calcutta and they took a train to Patna. Gandhi went to lawyer Rajendra Prasad's house and they waited for him. In order to grab complete knowledge of the situation, he reached Muzaffarpur on 15th April 1917. He was welcomed by Professor J.B. Kriplani and his students. Gandhi was surprised to see the immense support for an advocate of Home Rule like him. He also met some lawyers who were already handling cases of sharecroppers. As per the contract, 15% of the peasants' land holding was to be reserved for cultivation of indigo. Indigo, which is a dye of blue color, the crop of which was given to the landlord as rent. This system was very oppressive. Gandhi wanted to help the sharecroppers, so he visited the British Landlord Association, but he was not given any information because he was an outsider. He then went to the Commissioner of Tirhat Division, who threatened Gandhi and asked him to leave Tirhat. Instead of returning, he went to Motihari. Here, he started gathering complete information about the indigo contract. He was accompanied by many lawyers. One day, as he was on his way to meet a peasant who was maltreated by the indigo planters, he was stopped by the police superintendent's messenger who served him a notice asking him to leave. Gandhi received the notice but disobeyed the order. A case was filed against him. Many lawyers came to advise him, but when he stressed, they all joined his struggle and even consented to go to jail in order to help the poor peasants. So, obviously, when he was taking the stand for the poor peasants, he was there to help them. Obviously, the people, those who were not wanting him to take a stand for them, they started, you know, creating problems and they started threatening him. But Gandhiji was very determined and he motivated the other people also to come get united so that we can defeat the powerful. Why he wanted to defeat the powerful? Because they were misutilizing their powers. They were not supposed to do like that. The poor peasants were already giving the taxes, they were so much paying them, but still they were tortured by them. That's why Gandhiji wanted to take a stand and he wanted the other people to help them because alone nobody can do anything. So he want all the Indians, most of the people, those who are into that thing, they can just come together, they can get united and they can take a stand because they wanted to defeat the powerful people, and for that they really need the unity. After that, on the day of trial, a large crowd gathered near the court. It became impossible to handle them. Gandhi helped the officers to control the crowd. Gandhi gave his statement that he was not a lawbreaker, but he disobeyed so that he could help the peasants. He was granted bail and later on the case against him was dropped. Gandhi and his associates started gathering all sorts of information related to the indigo contract and its misuse. Later, a commission was set up to look into the matter. After the inquiry was conducted, the planters were found guilty and were asked to pay back to the peasants. Expecting refusal, they offered to pay only 25% of the amount. Gandhi accepted this too because he wanted to free the sharecroppers from the binding of the indigo contract. He opened 6 schools in Champaran villages and volunteers like Mahadev Desai, Narhari Parekh and his son Devdas taught them. Kasturbai, the wife of Gandhi, used to teach personal hygiene. Later on, with the help of a volunteer doctor, he provided medical facility to the natives of Champaran, thus making their life a bit better. A peacemaker, Andrews, wanted to volunteer at Champaran Ashram, but Gandhi refused as he wanted Indians to learn the lesson of self reliance so that they would not depend on others. Gandhi told the writer that it was Champaran's incident that made him think that he did not need the Britishers' advice while he was in his own country. So that was the time when Gandhiji also came to know about it. And children, until and unless you are in an adverse condition, you will not get to know how to come out of that. You have to be in some situation, in some condition. Yes, experience is also important, but how you gain experience? Only when you are in such condition. Why the people, those who are extremely poor, they are so much capable of dealing with day to day difficulties? Because they're always facing problems, they're always in the situations where they don't have proper amount of food, where they don't have the facilities. So when they are into that situation, they're actually facing the reality of life. That's why they're very much strong from mind, and they're not delicate. They can easily come out of that because they know that they have to deal with this thing in their day-to-day life. But if you will see any other child, you can take yourself also, you are not that much capable. Why? Because you are having all the facilities, your parents are providing you with the good amount of food, with the education, with the money, with other clothes, anything that you are willing for, the parents are providing you. That's why maybe you cannot think that what they are thinking in certain condition. In the same way, until and unless the Indians were in problem, Gandhiji could not think like that. He used to take advice from the Britishers in some cases, but this time he did not want to do that. He did not want to go for that because he wanted to do something himself for the country, because he was knowing that he is fighting for his people, for his own country. That's why his determination was very strong, and when the determination is strong, nobody can stand in front of you. That's a fact. So, conclusion of Indigo is, to sum up Indigo summary, we learn how Gandhiji did not merely help in freeing India but was always working for the betterment of his countrymen from the very start. So this was the summary of the chapter. Now let's take a bit of the portion of reading. When I first visited Gandhi in 1942 at his ashram in Sevagram in central India, he said, "I will tell you how it happened that I decided to urge the departure of the British. It was in 1917. He had gone to the December 1916 annual convention of the Indian National Congress Party in Lucknow. There were 2301 delegates and many visitors. During the proceedings, Gandhi recounted a peasant came up to me looking like any other peasant in India, poor, emaciated, and said, "I am Rajkumar Shukla. I am from Champaran, and I want you to come to my district." Gandhi had never heard of the place. It was the foothills of the towering Himalayas near the kingdom of Nepal. Under an ancient arrangement, the Champaran peasants were sharecroppers. Rajkumar Shukla was one of them. He was illiterate but resolute. He had come to the Congress session to complain about the injustice of the landlord system in Bihar, and somebody had probably said, "Speak to Gandhi." Gandhi told Shukla he had an appointment in Kanpur and was also committed to go to other parts of India. Shukla accompanied him everywhere. Then Gandhi returned to his ashram near Ahmedabad. Shukla followed him to the ashram. For weeks he never left Gandhi's side. Fix a date, he begged, impressed by the sharecropper's density and story. Gandhi said, I have to be in Calcutta on such and such a date. Come and meet me and take me from there. So this was the portion of the reading. Rest of the chapter you go through properly. And children, please concentrate on the reading, concentrate on the understanding. You have to read the chapters properly. You have to try to understand them. I've always said that if you have any problem, you can ask me, but nobody is asking. Maybe you're not having any problem. I can guess that only. And if you're having, please in the group also you can ask if some chapter is not clear to you. During revision, I'll explain the chapters again to you, but right now, if something is not clear, please do ask me. So, that's all for today. Thank you. Sairam.